Welcome back to the Design, Creativity and Technology channel. My name's Aaron. Well, we've got a little job coming to the shop today, and it's from my buddy Chris over at Cut Carve CNC. And it's a simple job. It's a basic 2D milling operation, 3-axis mill. And what I've decided to do first, I've attacked this from the bottom, not from the top to start with. So if we pop into a manufacturing environment and we simulate that, you can see that I'll just pop in here with a shell mill, drop in with a 8mm cutter bore it, then a 12mm cutter around the outside, a 2D adaptive, and then take the same cutter again and just do a 2D contour profile cleanup and repeat that with a spring pass. Drop in with my spot drill and chamfer the block. Now, when we look at the top side, okay, now I could have brought in the same stock from the previous operation. Fusion gives you that option now, but I decided not to do that, and you'll see here that I've made my G54 on the bottom, so the lower part, and then all moves will be in positive, and that's how I'll get an accurate height. And if we simulate that, once again I'll buzz that hat off and then pop in with a 2D adaptive strategy again. Now in hindsight, I was a little bit too conservative with the feed. I probably should have had more engagement, at least double that I think anyway. Then what a lot of people don't tend to do, they tend to leave their 2D adaptive as a finishing, and it's not a finishing strategy, okay? So I popped in here and did a pocket to clean that up, otherwise you're left with all those, I think they're ugly, those 2D adaptive lines. Once again, just drop in with my spot drill and clean that up there. Now you'll see here what I've done. You may notice that I've patched it, and the reason I've patched the model is because in the 2D adaptive, when it was coming, it would take a big chunk out of there because it would think that that hole isn't there. So one little good thing with the patch, you can patch that up, and that 2D adaptive ignored it, which was good. I've currently got the orange vise off the table, and I need to stick it back on to do this job here today, and just applying a little bit of grease and some oil onto the bottom of my vise, and that should help protect it while it's on the machine table and not get any rust underneath it. Now recently in my workshop I've made this little shop crane, and it's come in very, very handy for lifting awkward and heavy objects around my shop. I need a better sling than this to lift this, but look, it's fine for the purpose I'm doing it now. And with my little shop crane now, you can see I can quite easily push that vise into my machine and gently lower it down onto the table, and definitely saves my back, which is really, really good. You'll see now, because I've applied a little bit of grease and oil, how easy the vise just slides across the table. And of course now I can, fit it up, torque the bolts and tram it in. Now this footage is actually in reverse, okay, so don't think that I wrap it down like that and swept it. So this footage was shot and then turned around in reverse, so you can see there that quite happy with my little finger dial there. It's spot on the money, ready to go. So in we go with the part, and these are just some aluminium blocks. I think it's 5.0 series, which I get from my supplier. So you'll notice with the first cam strategy, I set the work coordinate system up in the centre of the block, and that way then I know I can utilise the leftover material. I'm not going to be, take meat away where I shouldn't take any away. The block is roughly 61mm by 70mm, you'll see there in the Y and X. And now that I've found the centre, I'll just position the hammer over the top, roughly pick up that centre, pop in and find that 0, so the height of the block. The thickness of that block is 25mm. And once 0 is found, I can then set that into the controller on the Syil CNC machine. This is an LNC, which is a Taiwanese controller. It's quite good. I would have preferred a Siemens, but it is what it is. And you can see there that I've set that coordinate system. Okay, in we go with the cycle. So this is what I showed you at the start. So buzz the top off that part. Remember, this is the bottom of the part that I'm working on first. I'm cutting 1.25mm off the top of that block, and I've just turned the coolant off here just so it doesn't spray the camera. I've got about $1,000 Sony camera sitting in there at the moment filming this, so it's not my best camera, but it's a pretty good little camera. You'll see here that I've popped in with that 8mm and done that boring cycle, and I changed the pitch on that boring cycle from 1mm pitch to 0.5, and it sounded much better. So in we go with the 2D adaptive. Once again, this is a 12mm end mill, and you can see I'm doing a full depth cut there. I believe I'm cutting 19.5mm down. So roughly 1.5 times diameter, which is fine. Now the cutting tools I'm using here are being supplied to me by Arthur from LiveTools. They are Evolute end mills. So thank you, Arthur. I'm really enjoying the Evolute range. Now I'm coming in to do that 2D contour, and you'll see I changed the entry point to the corner. And the reason I do that is because 9 times out of 10 Fusion will want to post and come in right on the centre of the part, and sometimes it will leave a little line in your part. So I've learnt from trial and error just to select the point where you want the tool to enter from, and once again I've done that spring pass to clean that up. Now this is just a little 6mm Sutton spot drill, tool number 2, and I'm just popping in there to break the burr on that part. And it's roughly a I think it's 0.5 chamfer I put on there from memory. And there's that bottom operations finished. You can see a line in the part, but it's not too bad with that facing cycle. So the part's now being flipped in the vise, and once again what I've done here is just set from the bottom of the parallels. Okay, so all Z operations will be a positive movement, not a negative. And I've sped that footage up a little bit here, so I had to buzz off about 5mm of the hat, so I'm not going to play that whole footage for you. Alright, this is the 2D adaptive on the bottom. This is where I think I was a little bit too conservative with the engagement rate, and like I said, I think it defaulted at 4.8 and I had it set at 1.2mm, and that's way too conservative for this operation. I'm cutting off roughly about 8mm, so yeah, I should have in hindsight left the engagement at 4.8. But anyway, I'm not chasing seconds here, it's just a one-off part. I've got to make 3 of them, so yeah, if I was making these all day I would have gone back in and changed the code. Okay, so once the adaptive is finished, as I was saying before in the CAD videos, a lot of people leave the 2D adaptive on as a finishing strategy, and it's not designed for that. So I'll pop back in here with a pocket toolpath and just done a 2D pocket on the bottom to clean that up. And it was stock to leave. I think I'm taking off 0.5mm on the floor and on the wall. I could probably also speed up that plunge feed rate as well, but look, it's hadn't used the machine for a little while, so the pucker factor was there, and yeah, it's had, like I said, if I was making 1,000 of these, I would have changed the strategy a little bit, and I think I could have cut minutes off this cycle, to be honest with you. All right, so we've popped in with a 6mm spot drill there to break that bird, take that chamfer on the edges, and I had to stop the program here because I didn't have enough stock hanging out of the parallels, so I had to catch it, otherwise I would have drove that cutter into the vise, and you'll see it here. I've caught it now and then done a 0 return move to bring the vise back to the front. And that's it for today, ladies and gentlemen. There's the part, and I'll send those off to the mail for Chris, and hopefully he'll be happy with them. See you on the next video, guys. Bye bye.